Hey guys, it's Jan here. As you know, I just love spotting Easter eggs when I'm watching movies, and Zootopia, or Zootropolis as it's also called, is full of lots of fun Disney and other pop culture references. So I've collected all the Easter eggs and references I could spot in this video. I'm sure you'll have caught the cool ones too, and I'd love to hear about those in the comments below. Just before I kick off though, I've got an awesome giveaway thanks to our friends at Chronicle Books. So if you'd like the chance to win this gorgeous hardback book, The Art of Zootropolis, make sure you subscribe and comment about your favourite Easter egg on this video. For more details and ways to enter the comp, check out the Gleam link in the video description below. And to give you an idea of what you can look forward to in the book, there's tons of beautiful concept art, sketches and information that give a wonderful peek into the making of the movie. Okay, as always, a quick reminder, there are spoilers ahead, so if you're not ready for that, check out my non-spoiler review of the movie right here. The movie Dumbo gets a reference in the name of the ice cream parlour owner, who's called Jerry Jumbo Jr., a nod to Dumbo's real name, Jumbo Jr. At the Mystic Springs Oasis, there's a group of bears scratching their backs on some palm trees just like Baloo does in the Jungle Book. When Nick pretends to go savage in the museum and rips apart a deer, the deer looks a bit like Bambi, and on one occasion Judy also thumps her foot like Thumper from Bambi. Disney's 1973 film, Robin Hood, which is director Byron Howard's favourite childhood movie, gets a number of nods. The design of Nick Wilde is similar to Robin Hood, and both foxes have a friendship with a rabbit. Mayor Lionheart's name is a reference to Robin Hood's King Richard, who is historically known as Richard the Lionheart. And there's a little bit of a joke about his name when Bellwether says she once called him Lionfart. By the way, Mufasa from Disney's The Lion King was the inspiration for the design of Mayor Lionheart in the movie. For the design of Assistant Mayor Bellwether, the animators took cues from the sheep in the Disney short film Lambert the Sheepish Lion. And don't you think Mrs. Otterton bears more than a passing resemblance to Rapunzel in Tangled, which was directed by Zootopia director Byron Howard? Judy's vine swing in the rainforest as she and Nick escape from Manchas is a nod to the classic Tarzan swing, and that whole chase scene also calls to mind a similar scene with Sabor, Carla and baby Tarzan in Disney's animated Tarzan movie. In Little Rodentia, Aunt Cass's San Francisco cafe, Lucky Cat Cafe from Big Hero 6, appears next to Mousie's department store. And let's not forget the hidden Mickeys. Some of the spots on Clawhouse's cheek form a hidden Mickey, and on the movie poster, just next to Mrs. Otterton, there's a zebra carrying a hidden Mickey. There's also a hidden Mickey in 3 stones that are set in a column. You can see it just over 20 minutes into the movie when Nick and Judy are walking together, and Nick's making fun of Judy's dreams to move to Zootopia. Frozen writer Jennifer Lee also contributed to the story of Zootopia, so it's no wonder there are so many nice Easter eggs to this Disney favourite. First off, the character of Duke Weaselton is voiced by Alan Tudyk, who also voiced the Duke of Weselton in Frozen. And in Zootopia, the sneaky weasel corrects Judy for calling him Weselton, saying his name is Weaselton, which is a funny twist on the way the Duke in Frozen complains about his name being mispronounced as Weaselton. And after Weaselton gets thrown next to the big donut by Judy, we get a little glimpse of Hans's pastry shop in Little Rodentia. Kristen Bell, who voices Anna in Frozen, has a cameo as the voice of the sloth Priscilla, who works with Flash at the DMV, which is especially funny because Kristen is just crazy about sloths. In fact, she even had one come to her 31st birthday party. Over in Tundratown, you can glimpse a pair of cute little elephants wearing similar clothing to Elsa and Anna. And Frozen's upcoming sequel gets a shout out as Floatson 2, the title of one of the bootleg DVDs that Weaselton sells at his street stall. The crafty weasel has some other funny Disney titles for sale too, like Pig Hero 6, Wrangled and Wreck-It Rhino, as well as Meow Anna and Giraffic, which are shout outs to Moana and Gigantic. There's also a fun dig at Frozen when Chief Bogo says to Judy, "Life isn't some cartoon musical where you sing a little song and your insipid dreams magically come true. So, let it go." And there's another Easter egg for the hit song on Judy's music playlist. When she goes to play Gazelle's Try Everything, one of the other titles on her track list is Let It Goat. The other song titles are also Disney Easter eggs. There's Part of Your Wool, a nod to the Little Mermaid song Part of Your World, Bunny Nights, a spin on Arabian Nights from Aladdin, and you can't quite see the whole title of this one as Judy's paw is in the way, but there's a title which begins Can You Feed the, which is likely a play on Elton John's Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King. And Judy's playlist has a load more musical puns with names of singers and bands like Fleetwood Yak, Fur Fighters, Guns N' Rodents, Hyena Gomez and K9 West. The filmmakers have also slotted in some clever Disney inside jokes. The road crossing of Vine to Hunger in the Rainforest District is a reference to the name of the Disney warehouse to Hunger, where the Zootopia animation team worked while Disney Animation Studios was being renovated. Judy's cell phone carrier is PB&J, which as well as being a play on AT&T, is a nod to the Disney TV animated series PB&J Otter. And the design and look of Zootopia has parallels with Disney's Tomorrowland, which itself was based on a section of Disneyland. Zootopia is also laden with references to other movies. Judy's given 48 hours to solve the case, just like the buddy cop movie 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. Emmett Otterton's name was inspired by the children's book and Muppet TV special Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. And when Duke Weaselton calls Judy Flopsy the Copsy at his bootleg DVD stand, it's a reference to the rabbit character Flopsy in the children's book The Tale of the Flopsy Bunnies by author Beatrix Potter. The way Weaselton holds onto the stolen bag when he runs away from Judy and the way he's animated is kind of reminiscent of Scratch from Ice Age. When Judy's chasing after Weaselton and Little Rodentia, it causes mayhem as she's a giant in comparison to the tiny mice scurrying around her feet, which calls to mind Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and other monster movies like King Kong and Godzilla. And when Judy brings down the giant donut on Weaselton, the way it's shot recalls Lard Lad in The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 6, which sees Lard Lad come to life in the segment called Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores, which itself is a parody of the movie Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Oh, by the way, the sign for Thigmo taxis in Little Rodentia is a pun on Thigmotaxis, which describes the behaviour in mice of wall hugging, which often occurs as a response to anxiety, just like these terrified mice do as Judy and Weaselton stomp through Little Rodentia. One of my absolute favourite bits of the movie is the extended reference to director Francis Ford Coppola's 1972 movie The Godfather. Not only does the Arctic Shrew mob boss Mr. Big sound like Marlon Brando's Vito Corleone, but he also has the same gestures. Plus he's dressed in a tuxedo with a red flower, and sits in a chair like The Godfather's, except instead of lion heads on the arms of the chair, Mr. Big has little mouse heads. As if that wasn't enough Godfather-style shenanigans, the whole scene, complete with music inspired by composer Nino Rota, takes place on the wedding day of Mr. Big's daughter. Also, Nick kisses Mr. Big's hand like Bonacera does in The Godfather, and we get the idea of the mob boss being disrespected and a favour being done on the wedding day. And in the previous scene, Nick also spots a CD of Rat Pack singer Jerry Vole, which is a play on the name of Italian-American singer Jerry Vale, who also made a cameo appearance in Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. Later, when Duke Weaselton's about to be iced by Mr. Big, Duke's line, "You dirty rat," is a verbal shout out to actor James Cagney, who became associated with those words after saying "you dirty yellow-bellied rat" in the 1932 film Taxi. And Duke's line, "They offered me what I couldn't refuse, money," is a twist on the famous line from The Godfather, "I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse." When Nick Wilde flushes a toilet to escape the Cliffside Asylum, it reminded me of Aardman's animated movie Flushed Away, and it's also a callback to Hitchcock's Psycho, which was the first film to show a toilet being flushed. The scene's also accompanied by a very Bernard Herrmann-esque Hitchcockian musical score. And there's a strong feel of film noir and Hitchcock thriller to all of the cliffside scenes, as well as the scenes in the Natural History Museum. And when Judy rips off her meter-maid outfit to reveal her police costume underneath, it's a pretty clear Superman reference. In fact, when they created the character of Judy, the animators channeled Superman, and director Byron Howard has said that Superman's compassionate qualities were an important part of building her character. The scene with Doug's Night Howler lab is a brilliant Breaking Bad reference. Doug wears a bright hazmat suit and mask, and his two minions that knock on the door with his coffee are called Jesse and Walter. And the serum that Doug cooks up is blue, just like Breaking Bad's blue meth. And it also made me think of the blue flower in Batman Begins, which Scarecrow uses to create his fear gas. And the subway car also calls to mind Walter and Jesse's RV, where they first set up their lab in Breaking Bad, as well as their later underground lab. Zootopia is also chock full of sign and brand gags, great puns and pop culture references. There are billboards and shop signs with plays on brand names such as Uber, which is transformed into Zuba, with a tagline, "Migration at your fingertips." Mr. Big's polar bear henchmen look at a funny selfie on their Zoogle Photos account, and Judy's smartphone has a bitten carrot logo, a twist on Apple's logo. Other funny brand names include the magazine Vanity Fair, an eBay billboard, there's a Molex timepieces store for Rolex, a Snarl Starbucks coffee cup, and Gazelle appears on some Prada advertising. Nike's famous slogan, "Just Do It," becomes "Just Zoo It." The exercise clothing chain Lululemon becomes Lululemmings. There's a range of Burberry clothing. There's a news reporter working for ZNN, Zootopia's version of CNN, and there's also a Lemmings Brothers bank instead of Lehman Brothers. When Frou Frou and her friends cross the road from Mousie's, which has Macy's trademark red colours, they're carrying Target shopping bags with the Target logo colours. And the first time you meet the lovable Clawhauser, he's munching on a bowl of Lucky Chomp cereal, the Zootopia version of Lucky Charms. Music-wise, Gazelle's Tiger Dances are likely a reference to Shakira's hit song Loca, in which the Spanish chorus goes "Yo soy loca con mi tigre," which translates literally as "I'm crazy with my tiger." In fact, Shakira requested that her character Gazelle be designed with curvier hips to represent a more positive body image. But perhaps it's also a nice reference to her hit song Hips Don't Lie. Even the titles of the film's soundtrack are pop culture puns, with tracks like Grey's Mad at Me for Grey's Anatomy, Ticket to Ride, a wordplay on the Beatles' Ticket to Ride, Work Slowly and Carry a Big Stick is a twist on the phrase Speak Softly and Carry a Big Stick, which is associated with Theodore Roosevelt, Walk and Stalk is a pun on the walk and talk storytelling technique often used by the likes of West Wing writer Aaron Sorkin, and Hopps Goes After the Weasel is a play on the nursery rhyme Pop Goes the Weasel. And there are some interesting cameos in the movie too. For example, the voice of the Rhino Officer McHorn is performed by Mark Smith, who's best known for starring as Rhino in the British TV series Gladiators. The news anchor character Peter Moosebridge is voiced by the real Canadian newsreader Peter Mansbridge. Zootopia directors Byron Howard and Jared Bush cameo as the voices of Bucky and Pronk Oryx Antlerson, Judy's unsociable neighbours. Also, co-director Rich Moore was the voice of Doug the Ram, and writer Phil Johnston was the voice of Gideon Grey. The voice of Frou Frou was by Leah Latham, a Walt Disney Animation Studios production supervisor, and Disney story artist Raymond Percy voiced Flash from the DMV. And Ginnifer Goodwin's husband and fellow Once Upon a Time star Josh Dallas voiced the character of Frantic Pig, a florist who appears asking Judy for help when Duke Weaselton steals from his shop. So guys, what other Easter eggs and references did you spot in Zootopia, and which ones were your favourites? I'm looking forward to reading your comments below. If you enjoyed the movie, I've got links to my playlist here, including 25 fun facts, top 5 funniest moments, and my review. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment about your favourite Easter egg on this video for a chance to win this beautiful Art of Zootropolis hardback book. For more details and ways to enter the comp, check out the Gleam link in the video description below. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!